Not the soft kind of quiet that feels peaceful, but the heavy kind that makes a man hear his own breathing. The clock on the wall ticked slowly. Tick, tick, tick. Each sound felt louder than the last. Daniel sat alone on a small wooden chair, staring at the door in front of him. He did not know why, but he felt something was about to change. Outside, rain tapped gently on the window. The streetlight flickered, throwing long shadows across the room. Daniel rubbed his hands together. They were cold, even though it was not winter. He lived alone in this small apartment at the edge of the city. No wife, no children, no visitors. Days passed, and no one knocked on his door. People often think lonely men are strange. But Daniel was not strange. He was just quiet. He spoke little, listened more, and kept his thoughts inside his heart. Every morning, Daniel woke up at the same time. He made a cup of tea, sat near the window, and watched people walk by. Couples holding hands, friends laughing, children running to school. He watched, but he was never part of it. At work, Daniel was invisible. He worked in a small bookshop. He arranged books, cleaned shelves, and helped customers when they asked. Most of them did not remember his face. Some did not even look at him. At night he returned home, ate simple food and read old books. His favorite stories were about people who found hope when they thought they had lost everything. Daniel often wondered if such stories were true. On this night, as the rain fell and the clock ticked, he felt a strange pull in his chest. He stood up and walked slowly toward the door. Then came the knock. 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 Daniel froze. No one ever knocked on his door. He stood still, his heart beating fast. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone knocked on the wrong door. Knock. Knock. This time it was louder. Daniel took a deep breath and opened the door. A young woman stood there, soaked from the rain. Her hair stuck to her face. Her eyes were wide and scared. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "Please can I come in?" Daniel did not know why, but he stepped aside. The woman entered quickly. She looked around the room, then sat down, holding her arms tight around herself. "Thank you," she said. "I didn't know where else to go." Daniel closed the door slowly. "My name is Daniel," he said after a moment. "Emma," she replied. "I won't stay long. I just needed a safe place." Daniel nodded. He went to the kitchen and brought her a towel and a cup of warm tea. She smiled weakly. As she drank, Daniel noticed something strange. Emma looked familiar, but he was sure he had never met her before. They sat in silence. The rain continued outside. "Why did you knock on my door?" Daniel asked gently. Emma looked down at her cup. "Because you looked lonely," she said. Daniel felt a sharp pain in his chest. "You don't even know me," he replied. "I've seen you," Emma said. "At the bookshop. At the bus stop. Always alone." Daniel did not know what to say. "I think lonely people understand pain better than others," she added. That night, Emma slept on the couch. Daniel lay awake in his bed, staring at the ceiling. He felt confused, but also warm. For the first time in many years, he was not alone in his home. The next morning, Emma was gone. No note. No message. Daniel felt foolish for hoping she would stay. Days passed, but Daniel could not forget her. He looked for her everywhere. At the bookshop. On the streets. At the bus stop. One evening, as he was closing the shop, he saw her again. She stood across the street, watching him. "Emma," he called. She smiled and walked toward him. "I knew I'd find you," she said. They started talking after work. Then they talked again the next day. And the day after that. Emma shared her story. She had lost her parents young. She moved from place to place. She trusted no one. She said loneliness had followed her all her life. Daniel listened. He never judged. He never rushed her. Slowly they became friends. They walked together in the evenings. They shared simple meals. They laughed at small jokes. For Daniel, life began to feel lighter. But Emma always kept a distance. She never stayed too long. She never talked about the future. One night, Daniel finally asked, "Why do you always leave?" Emma looked at him with sad eyes. "Because people leave," she said. "It's better to go first." Daniel felt fear. He realized he was afraid to lose her. "I won't leave," he said quietly. Emma shook her head. You don't know that. Weeks later, Emma stopped coming. Daniel waited. He checked his phone. He walked the streets at night. Nothing. Loneliness returned, heavier than before. One rainy evening, Daniel received a letter under his door. It was from Emma. She wrote that she was sick. Very sick. She did not want him to see her like that. She said knowing him changed her life. She thanked him for making her feel human again. Daniel's hands shook as he read the letter. He ran through the rain to the address she gave. Emma lay in a small hospital room. Pale. Weak. When she saw Daniel, tears filled her eyes. You came, she whispered. I told you, Daniel said. I don't leave. He sat by her side every day. He read to her. He held her hand. He spoke about simple things. Slowly, Emma smiled more. Months passed. Emma got better. On the day she left the hospital, she held Daniel's hand tightly. I was wrong, she said. Not everyone leaves. Daniel smiled. They did not become perfect people. They still had fears. Still had quiet days. But they were no longer lonely. Daniel still watched people from his window, but now Emma stood beside him. The clock still ticked, but it no longer sounded so loud. The room was quiet. This time it felt like home.